Welcome back, everyone, to the second half of our speech contest. Before we launch into the second category, ages 15 to 17, we'd like to invite Christy Madden for some words of inspiration.
First off, thank you for having me. I'm a BCI student reporter for 1079 News. And I'm so impressed with all of the young contestants who are stepping out of their comfort zones and providing excellent speeches that I'm blown away by. I remember I was stepping into your shoes years ago and I was writing speeches and I was so nervous back then, and now I'm actually public speaking for my career. And I still get nervous even to this day, and I speak to thousands of listeners, being on TV for BCIT magazine and going out and reporting on stories and current events in the community. It's a great career, and I just want to encourage all of you young contestants to pursue your dreams and to keep going with your public speaking. You're going to be public speaking throughout your career as you grow up and you're in school. It's going to make you better people because of it. And I just want to thank you all for having me, and good luck in your careers, and thank you.
Thank you for those words of encouragement. I'm sure we can all relate to that. I still get nervous. I can't wait for the day I get up and I'm not nervous. I don't know when that will happen. I highly doubt that will, but one can hope. So with that, we're going to dive right into our second half. I would like to invite Anjali up as our first speaker.
Last summer, I went on a breathtaking road trip across BC with my family in an RV. The trip really changed my perspective about the Fraser River. One evening, sleeping beside the thundering river, hearing the fireflies buzzing around me, and the waves pounding on the rocks beside me, I remember thinking about how, from heritage to recreation, the Fraser River touches all aspects of our daily life. More importantly, it is the central to the history of our First Nations people and the many immigrants to British Columbia. With the Fraser River in the backyard of such a vast section of the provincial population, it is heavily exploited by human activities. Just imagine 2 parallel oil pipelines slithering straight down northern BC. An estimated 525,000 barrels a day of crude oil from Alberta's oil sands to Kitimat, BC, could bring terrible consequences for animals, birds, and fish who rely on these rivers for their food. Our very own BC could become extremely vulnerable for an oil spill disaster which could devastate our rivers, coasts, and our way of life for several generations to come. This makes me wonder, are we really ready to give up our precious Fraser away? While there are many economic benefits to the proposed Enbridge pipeline, it cuts through many First Nations territories and could destroy the west coast of Canada, which is known for its natural beauty and spirit of innovation. As I was doing my research for my presentation today, I found out that we face several other environmental issues, including climate change, diminishing wildlife habitat, the mountain pine beetle epidemic, and declining agricultural lands. These issues can all have a direct impact on the health of the entire Fraser River Basin. And although in BC, we invest heavily to make sure that we continue to keep the Fraser River sustainable, in my view, there is no amount of investment that will be quite enough to ensure that the waters continue to be useful for the generations to come. Spreading awareness and education can be a big part of solving this problem. I also feel that learning from the First Nations people about their traditional teachings and their approach to sustainability could also be another solution. Every little bit that each one of us can do counts. For example, not throwing anything into the storm drains and planting trees beside the river, they will all help too. I am ready to protect our environment. I am ready to end pollution forever. I am ready to take charge. I started a green team in my school and led my classmates in everything from recycling programs to park cleanups. We are on a mission to make our school, our community, and our world more sustainable. We are at a turning point in history, a point where change is needed for all life on our planet. That change starts with us. You can make a difference. Join me as a leader in sustainability. Together, we can make our world cleaner, greener, and brighter. I quote from a famous First Nations proverb: "We do not inherit the earth from our ancestors, but we borrow it from our children." We can do this together because we are the Fraser and we are one. Thank you.
Thank you, Anjali, for that amazing speech. I think that's very true how she concluded. With the environment, I know in the moment it's easy to say, it's okay, someone else will take care of it. But for us kids, it's our kids that are going to inherit what we leave behind. And if we don't take care of it now, then what exactly are they going to be getting later on? And that's why we all need to take those steps just to ensure that the environment will be okay. The question is, where do you find inspiration?
Where do you find inspiration? Now, I want everybody in this room to close their eyes for just 2 minutes, okay? Now think about it. Think about a plain canvas. There's nothing on the canvas. Think about brush strokes everywhere, different colors at once. I find inspiration with painting. This is my passion. I love how thoughts can just be put on a canvas and how things can be created in just a jiffy. How people can find inspiration from my paintings. How everybody can look at my paintings and find inspiration to do something of their own. This is my passion. What is yours?
Thank you, Anjali. It's great to see that you find inspiration in painting. I myself find inspiration through music, so it's really cool. Next, I'd like to invite our speaker, Jennifer Lowe.
Good afternoon, honorable judges, parents, and friends. Have you ever felt like your life isn't as awesome as it should be? We're fooled by television, movies, and even our social media into thinking that other people lead more adventurous and exciting lives than us. Now one would think that such a feeling would prompt us to seek more adventure in our lives, and yet you still end up on your couch, Friday night, watching Netflix with a bag of chips in your lap, trying to convince yourself that these are not your only friends. The solution is a simple yet extremely effective concept. Stop saying no. By saying no, you are closing the door to what could be an amazing opportunity, or an awful one. However, that awful experience could end up transforming it into a hilarious story that you can later laugh at. Now, by all means, I am not suggesting that you have to stop saying the word altogether, or say yes to everything. In fact, there are some scenarios in which that would be inadvisable, such as if a strange person asks you to get in their car, or if a girl asks you if she was fat in that dress. So obviously, common sense doesn't go out the window. I am simply implying that by saying yes, you are opening the doors to possibility and adventure in your life. Now think about it. How many times do you say no on a daily basis? And why are you saying it? We say no out of fear. We say no out of just plain laziness. We say no to avoid boredom. But I think the most important reason why we say no is out of fear. Whether that be the fear of rejection, humiliation, taking a risk, or just doing something that is out of our comfort zone. Recall the character Marlin from the Disney movie Finding Nemo, whose fear of the ocean causes him to become paranoid and overprotective about any potential danger that could occur to his son Nemo, stating he would never let anything happen to him. Eventually, through the events of the movie, Marlin comes to realize that you can't let nothing happen, because then nothing would ever happen. By saying yes and opening himself up to the possibility of the ocean, Marlin is able to escape the intense fear that is crippling him and lead a happier and more fulfilling existence. Now I know what you're thinking. Well, Marlin's a cartoon character, and that kind of stuff only happens in the movies. I know that, not because I'm a mind reader, but because I used to think the exact same way. I've always been terrified of putting myself out there. I used to be extremely shy, to the point where when I went to restaurants, I was too afraid to even order for myself, because I was scared of the waiter. When I reached grade 7, I realized that I was tired of being afraid and scared. So I developed this ideology that by saying yes to things that were outside of my comfort zone, I could push myself to become the person that I wanted to be. In my grade 7 year, I joined every possible club or team I could. I joined office monitoring, lunch monitoring. I even tried out for the school musical, which I got a major speaking part in. And at the end of the year, as I stood on the makeshift stage at grade 7 camp, receiving the award for Best Actress for my skit, I remember one of my teachers approached me and asked, "Jennifer, where did that come from?" However, my progress halted when I reached high school, and I found myself falling back into my old habit of being quiet and shy. And I was frustrated with myself for failing in my quest to become more confident. But then I realized I had only failed because I had let myself. The next year, I said yes to signing up for my school's leadership program. Leadership was a class that would push you to put yourself out there, help plan and put on activities for the school, and learn leadership skills. I knew that this was how I was going to get where I wanted to be. I remember on my first day, I was sitting there in a room surrounded by my new peers, and my teacher asked us to sit in a circle and tell her why we decided to join leadership. Some said, looks good on a resume. Others said, my parents made me. And I said, because I want to be more confident. And that right there is exactly what I did. I spent the year pushing myself harder than I ever had before. I took initiative, I put my hand up in class, and finally let my voice be heard. And at the end of the year, my teacher pulled me aside and she said to me, "Do you remember at the beginning of the year when I asked you why you joined leadership? Do you remember what you said? You said because you want to be more confident. But right there, when I heard your voice, I thought to myself, she's already confident. She doesn't need to do anything more. It's all there. Now, I've come a long way since then. A few years ago, I could never have imagined that I'd be standing where I am today at a speech competition. This coming from a girl who is too afraid to even ask the waiter for a glass of water. This proves that you can achieve the life that you want to achieve is possible and is not just a fantasy depicted on your screen. You too can achieve your goals if you follow these steps, because I know there is something you're not doing because you're afraid. And that's okay. It might not be easy, but stepping out of your comfort zone never is. First, set a goal for yourself. What is it that you want to do? Is it that open mic night, public speaking, or something as scary as telling someone you like them? Next, but unlike all of those times when you set New Year's resolutions that you never followed up on, this time you're going to think realistically about how you're going to achieve those goals. What I like to do is I like to write out a life map for all of my goals, starting with the big idea, the thing I want to accomplish. And then I write my motivation, why I want to accomplish this, what it means to me, and then a list of smaller steps and personal deadlines for myself to complete them. And finally, take a deep breath, go out, and just say yes. Now I will leave you with one final quote by John A. Shedd. A ship in a harbor is safe, but that's not what ships were built for. Thank you.
Thank you for that speech, Jennifer. You're right, the two powerful words, yes and no. No being given, like, for example, for like the common sense ones, like saying no to getting into a stranger's car. And then yes, as a superpower, a skill that you need to say yes to the opportunities given to you to work towards your goal for your story. The prompt is, what is something most people do not know about you?
All right. Something most people don't know about me is I am terrified of public speaking. I am horrified. Right now, terrified. Do you see this look of horror? I am freaking out. But the trick is, I like to face my fears. Things that people don't know about me, I like to surprise them and show them that I can do whatever they told me that I couldn't do. I used to be bullied a lot in elementary school for various reasons, being short, not speaking a lot. I was bullied for being shy, and lots of people didn't think I spoke English. I actually don't know how to speak any other language other than English, so that's a little bit sad. But yeah, what most people don't know about me is that even though I'm afraid, I like to go after what I want. And what I want is, right now, to inspire you. Just to look at me and think, if someone like her can do this, then I can do whatever I want to do. Thank you.